Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create the container for Azure Cosmos DB. So if you logged into Azure portal, you'll find that Azure Cosmos DB service is listed like this on the dashboard. If you're seeing this in future and the interface changes, you'll still be able to find it by typing in the search bar. You'll find Azure Cosmos DB service, right? So I will click on Azure Cosmos DB, and then here you can see I already have one service, and then we'll create another one. Okay, I get plenty of options to choose from, like Apache Gremlin, MongoDB, PostgreSQL, Table, Cassandra, and NoSQL. So out of that I will choose NoSQL. You can't switch once you made a selection. You can create another service in that case. So here you click on create. Now let's see, this is a subscription type, so the default name stays. Then comes the resource group, then you create account name, then location, then capacity. Also you can apply free tier discount and limit the throughput. All of this you can do, and then review and create, which should take you to option where you have your instance created like this. It will see the status online, your default locations, URI. Then you also have total throughput, which is 1000 units, throughput units, right? Now here what we can do is we can add a new container, right? So I will click on add container. Okay, so which would create a new drawer like this where I can put in database ID. So I will name this, let's say, my table. Then I will choose option between auto scale or manual. I will select the manual. I will limit this to 400 RUs, right? Estimated cost, which is 0.77 daily or 23.36 monthly, right? Or you can reduce even further if you want. So with database scaling, you can also share throughput across containers. So that's one thing to note as well, right? So here the throughput you can choose between 400 to unlimited. So let's see, if you are just learning or trying to create those starter apps, better to start from 400 or 500 and then scale it onwards, right? As it would costly otherwise. Then comes your container ID. So note that you can name here your my table. Here you can give my data as container. I want that. You can have your automatic indexing enabled. Also you can have partition key, which you can have the item ID there. So let's say if I choose, I can use my data. You can also use /id, that also works, but I will choose /my data. You can add unique keys here, right? So over there you can check the information tooltip. Unique keys are like your layer of data integrity to database, right? So it adds that. So what we can do is we can use unique key, right? So let's say /id should be the unique, right? Apart from that, you can add other unique keys which cannot have duplicate values, and also if you want to use something like incremental value or so, you can add that, right? Then comes analytic store, which you can enable or disable if you are taking real-time data. Then there is synapse link option, which you can enable. So in my case I don't want to do that. Then comes advanced. So my application uses older Cosmos.NET Java SDK version, so that's not the case, right? So we have pretty much taken down all the details in containers. So starting with database ID, we added my table. You can use any existing if you already have. Then moving on to, you can choose share that part, share throughput across containers. Right, throughput configured at the database level will be shared across all containers within database. So I'm not going to do that, so we can disable it. Then comes your container ID. So I'll selected my data. So partition a key for this would be slash my data. You can even name any other if you want. Then you can add hierarchical partition key if you want. Then comes throughput option. You can pick as manual. Right, I selected 400. Then comes unique keys. I used slash id. Right, then comes option to add analytical store, that I disabled. Then I clicked on OK. Now this should create a container which we can access for further adding of our data, or even we can use notebook once we have our container ready. So the flow was something like this. First we created our Cosmos DB account. Once we do that, we move on to creating container, right? And then here you can see often what happens is that it leads to some of the error. The unique key path cannot contain system properties. ID is system property, right? So what we will do is we will change this to, let's see, something like it needs to be unique. So we will use UID or SID, right? Let's hope that this time it won't be the ID that's in use. So now click OK. So it will again process everything out. If there are any errors, then it will be shown. At the bottom you can also see if it is successful in created that table, etc., and it will show you that option. Now here you see you have your my table, and then you have your data and then your items, right? So we can go to Cosmos DB. Then here we can now go to our container. From here you can see your database, your throughput, your ID. Click on that, it will take you to Data Explorer. It will show you what to do from here. Can even increase the size where you're viewing all of this. Can now quick start, create new container, or connect to this using tools of your choice. It will show you the options. Now you have seen the options. You can go ahead, develop your app, connect to this particular container, then work with it. The easiest way to get started, clicking on launch quick start, and from there you will find option to create your container. Next you can also connect and you will get all the details for connection, right? So if you are using Data Studio, Azure Data Studio, then you can use all this data, right? And considering I'm showing you all of this and my all details are visible, but I will be removing this container eventually, so it won't be much usable by trying to copy the details also. But still I'm not hiding that, and I will be showing you all of this. Now here you can see you have your data. Here you can run your new SQL query, can execute your queries. Click on that, view if you have anything. Currently we don't have anything, so will result in nothing, right? You can save your queries, etc. Also you can click on new database, new container option, right? Also you have option to create new SQL query, open queries, and then choose option for stored procedure UDF and new trigger, right? So everything is pretty much set over here for you to explore from this point onwards, right? So I would recommend getting your Azure Data Studio and then access your container, and then from there you can work on those notebooks, run queries, then access all the data that you want, or in short you can do the data operations from there as well.